In 2006, a merchant ship set sail from China to New Zealand, carrying thousands of shipping containers filled with a variety of goods that people in New Zealand would buy and use every day. However, the cargo ship never arrived at its destination and was never seen again. And the ship has been missing ever since. Now, some believe it may have sunk, but others don't think this is true because it has still not been located. What really happened to the ship, and where could it be today? In today's episode, we will look into the case file of this mysterious cargo ship that simply vanished into thin air and may help us solve this ghostly mystery. It all started on October 2005 when the MV Joyita left Yantian port in China, headed for the port of Tauranga in New Zealand. The ship's crew consisted of 5 crew members, including the captain, 2 Chinese nationals, and 3 Ukrainians. But everything changed when the ship encountered bad weather just a few days after setting sail. Heavy waves rocked the vessel, while strong winds forced the ship off course, pushing it dangerously off its planned route. The Joyita struggled to stay afloat in the rough waters. When the ship encountered these unexpected conditions, the crew immediately contacted their employer and informed them about their dire situation. They knew they had to do something if they wanted to save the ship from being lost at sea. After much discussion between the ship's crew and their bosses back at headquarters, it was decided that the ship should alter its route so it could avoid the intense storm forming in the Pacific Ocean. The captain steered the ship away from the dangerous waters, and the crew hoped for calmer seas ahead. But little did they know, the storm would only get worse and follow them all the way to New Zealand. On October 29, 2005, the MV Joyita attempted to dock at its final destination. But instead of a warm welcome, the ship was greeted by even more bad weather. Storms lashed out against the ship, causing it to drag its anchor. The ship began to drift further and further away from the coast until it was pushed out to sea. All attempts to regain control of the ship failed, and the MV Joyita found itself at the mercy of the raging ocean, completely at the mercy of the unforgiving forces of nature. As the ship drifted further away from civilization, the crew desperately tried to contact the Coast Guard and alert them about their precarious situation. But the howling wind and heavy rainfall made communication nearly impossible. It was as if the ocean itself was determined to keep the ship away from the safety of the shore. Days turned into nights, and still the MV Joyita tossed and turned in the turbulent waters. The crew battled against exhaustion and despair as they clung to hope that rescue was on its way. Then, just as suddenly as it began, the storm abated, and the MV Joyita found itself in uncharted waters. The ship had managed to survive the wrath of the ocean, but it was now lost and alone. There was no sign of land, and no one knew the ship's location. To make matters worse, the ship's radio equipment had been damaged during the storm, making it impossible for the crew to contact anyone for help. As panic began to set in, the crew realized they were trapped in a terrifying nightmare. With no hope of rescue, the crew of the MV Joyita were left to fend for themselves in the vast expanse of the Pacific Ocean. They rationed their supplies, hoping they would be found soon. But the longer the days passed without rescue, the more desperate they became. On November 2, 2005, almost a week since losing contact with the ship, the New Zealand Coast Guard received a distress call from the MV Joyita. The call was faint and garbled, but the Coast Guard managed to gather enough information to realize the ship was in grave danger. A search and rescue operation was immediately launched, but the Coast Guard was not prepared for what they would find. When the search planes reached the coordinates given by the crew, they found the MV Joyita. The ship was empty. There was no sign of the crew anywhere. The ship was also drifting dangerously off course, proving that the ship had been unmanned for several days. What happened to the crew? Where did they go? And what happened to the ship? To this day, no one knows the answer to these questions. As the MV Joyita continued its journey across the Pacific Ocean, it left behind a trail of unanswered questions and chilling mysteries. The discovery of the abandoned ship sent shockwaves through the maritime community. How could a vessel be completely deserted without a trace of its crew? Theories abounded, ranging from piracy to mutiny, each more outlandish than the last. But as days turned into weeks, the truth remained elusive, leaving investigators baffled. Some believe the crew abandoned ship after becoming stranded. Others speculate that the ship was hijacked, leaving the crew at the mercy of ruthless pirates. But the most haunting theory suggests that the crew vanished without a trace, leaving behind a ghost ship to drift aimlessly through the vast expanse of the ocean. The disappearance of the MV Joyita remains an enigma, a chilling reminder of the unforgiving nature of the sea and the mysteries that lie beneath its surface. For many, the story of the lost ship and its crew serves as a haunting reminder of the fragility of life and the unforgiving nature of the sea. The MV Joyita may have met a tragic end, but its haunting presence continues to captivate the imagination of those who hear its tale. Some believe the ship still wanders the oceans, a ghostly apparition forever lost in time. Others believe the crew's souls are trapped on board, searching for peace after their untimely demise. What happened to the ship and its crew remains unknown, leaving behind a legacy of unanswered questions and haunting possibilities. One of the biggest mysteries surrounding the MV Joyita is the lack of any concrete evidence as to what really happened to the ship and its crew. Despite extensive searches by both land and sea, no wreckage has ever been found, and no trace of the missing persons has ever been discovered. This absence of evidence has led to a plethora of conspiracy theories, each more speculative than the last. Some have suggested that the ship may have been deliberately sunk, with the crew's disappearance being nothing more than an elaborate cover-up. Others believe the ship became entangled in a massive fishing net, disappearing beneath the waves without a trace. The most popular theory, however, is that the MV Joyita succumbed to the relentless power of the ocean, with the ship and its crew lost forever to the depths. The absence of evidence has only fueled speculation, leaving the true fate of the MV Joyita and its crew a mystery that continues to elude even the most seasoned investigators. The impact of the MV Joyita's disappearance on the maritime industry was profound. The incident raised concerns about safety regulations and oversight, prompting calls for stricter measures to ensure the well-being of both vessels and their crews. Authorities began to scrutinize shipping practices, demanding greater transparency and accountability from shipping companies. The tragedy also sparked a debate about the effectiveness of search and rescue operations, with many arguing for improved coordination and response times. In the aftermath of the MV Joyita disaster, the maritime industry was forever changed, driven by a collective determination to prevent such tragedies from striking again. The story of the MV Joyita is a chilling reminder of the unpredictable nature of the world we inhabit. It serves as a somber testament to the strength of the ocean and the resilience of the human spirit in the face of adversity. The events surrounding the ship's disappearance have left an indelible mark on those who have heard its tale. For some, the mystery only adds to the intrigue, fueling endless speculation and conspiracy theories. Others, however, find solace in the knowledge that while the ship may be gone, the memory of its crew lives on, forever etched in the annals of maritime history. Despite the passage of time, the MV Joyita continues to captivate our collective imagination. Its story serves as a reminder of the enduring power of the human spirit and the unbreakable bonds of camaraderie that unite us in the darkest of times. Whether we choose to believe in the supernatural or remain grounded in the realm of reason, one thing is certain. The tale of the MV Joyita will continue to be told, keeping the memory of this enigmatic ship and its crew alive for generations to come. As we reflect on the haunting tale of the MV Joyita, we are left with a sense of awe and wonder. The ship's disappearance remains an enigma, a puzzle that defies easy explanation or resolution. While we may never know the true fate of the MV Joyita and its crew, we can take solace in the fact that their story continues to inspire awe and wonder in those who hear it. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave us a like. Thank you very much for watching.